the areas of food, water, and energy. Delivered by program partner Science Centre Singapore and fully funded by Shell Singapore, the Singapore team remains committed in inspiring the next generation of scientists, engineers, and innovators. Today, Friday, October 30th, 2020, marks the finals for NXplorers 2020 program. Stay tuned to witness the finalist team presentations and vote for your favorite one through the QR code or link at the bottom of the screen or in the description to cast your vote for the preferred team. The public voting begins now and will end at 4 p.m. sharp. The winners of today's finals tend to gain a lot, especially teams that win the top 3 prizes that will have a value of the third prize, $10,000. The second prize will be $12,000, and the first prize will be $15,000. It gives me great pleasure to invite our Chief Executive of Science Centre Singapore, Associate Professor Lim Ted Ming, to deliver the welcome address. Prof. Lim, please.
Thank you, Charmin, and a very good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted and very happy to join you at the finals of the NXplorers 2020. Now, we are all spread out, and you can see that I'm with my face mask on, meaning that we are all in different locations. And therefore, I'd like to start off by acknowledging all the special guests, either online, on-site, amongst us now. And first of all, I want to acknowledge and also thank Ms. Liu Xiaowei, Vice President, External Relations, Shell Singapore, for your presence and also for Shell's strong support over 4 decades working with the Science Centre. And also with us, I also want to acknowledge the presence of all industry representatives from Shell, from Hope Technique Private Limited, and from Pacific Light Power Private Limited for serving as judges in this competition. They're actually right now here with me in the Newton Room at the Science Centre. And also, I'd like to also acknowledge and thank our Science Centre Singapore's management team, STEM Inc., the support staff for organizing this event, as well as Charmin in the studio doing MC. I also want to thank all the mentors from Shell and Science Centre Singapore for guiding the finalist teams. And of course, students, we want to thank you for your passion, your patience, and resilience to tackle the challenges. And also want to especially shout out to the teachers and parents for your support. And all the collective efforts as a team, internal and external partners, schools and families, we develop our youth through this program is highly commendable. So I want to thank everyone here. And I understand that the NXplorers 2020 programs drew great interest. And this year we had 115 team registration from 36 schools in January 2020. And over the past 6 months involving workshops, competition entries, and project pitching, 5 outstanding teams were shortlisted as finalists. And my heartiest congratulations to all of you for having made the cut. You have shown much resilience and resolve during what has been an unprecedented year for the nation and an unusual season for the competition. And the COVID-19 pandemic has really forced us to be very creative and also be very nimble to really come with a lot of adaptation. And also we have to make sure that we comply with the safe management measures, resulting in a lot of changes to the way we operate this year's competition and events. And all because of safety is of the topmost importance for our guests as well as the students. And because of this, our NXplorers 2020 is translated in moving from a physical delivery mode of engagement like as of last year to a fully virtual one now. It's not an easy decision to make, but then the show must go on. I want to thank the team, the students, the teachers for persevering to make this possible today. There was significant consideration to make and a lot of challenges for us to navigate, like building our rapport through virtual platform digitally, and mentoring virtually, and also facilitating all the online workshops. These are really challenging for us, and yet here we are. We are at the finals. So all thanks to the steadfast commitment of participating students, teachers, mentors, judges, and partners, all of whom have espoused some of the best values of humanity in not giving up when the going gets tough. Even we have had to endure physical separation or limited connectivity in person, the new norm has also brought about new potentials, including live streaming of the event through social media, allowing for wider showcasing of projects, viewing, and participation. The new norm has also necessitated changes in the way we think and act, as we have had to adapt much more quickly and efficiently by drawing on the strength of one another to navigate such dramatic changes. It has been a tremendous test that has brought out the best in all of us. And like what we say at the Science Center, while the COVID-19 stopped many things, STEM continued to press on. We cannot stop. We cannot say we stop everything. We have to continue. And that brings me to a point that Science Center strongly believe in. And through this, NXplorer is no doubt an innovative educational programs that empower our youth, introduces young people to the complex and creative thinking to bring about positive change. We always believe in promoting the power of STEM, and through the power of STEM, we empower the youth. And Science Center Singapore believes strongly in this. And today we are seeing the finalists showcasing, demonstrating how when the youth power come together with the power of STEM, we can come up with very innovative solutions and tackle the real world issues we face today. So once again, my heartiest congratulations to all teams for your perseverance and hard work put into this competition, especially in this current pandemic. If you like Winnie the Pooh, you would probably come across Christopher Robin, who said it this way: "You are braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." So I like to have this as an encouragement to all our young ones, that indeed you are braver, stronger, and smarter than you think. So go out there and give it your very best. I have every confidence in you. We really have confidence that you will use the power of STEM to empower yourself to do good, to do well, and continue to press on. And all the best once again to all the teams, and to everyone else. Let's have a great time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Lim. Now let's welcome our guest of honor, Ms. Liu Xiaowei, Vice President, External Relations, Asia Pacific, Shell Companies in Singapore, to say a few words. Ms. Liu, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to know that you can hear me. Right. Good afternoon, all students, judges, teachers, our partner Science Center, and Shell colleagues. It is my great pleasure to be with you this afternoon for NXplorer Singapore Final 2020. It has been an extraordinary year due to COVID-19. I'd like particularly commend all the 5 finalist teams for your efforts and determination you have demonstrated so far. Due to COVID-19, at the beginning of the year when we launched the program, you're not able to meet face-to-face and physically to work on your program. Later on, you also have to balance between working on the project and your exams. Despite all of these hurdles, you all have come up with very innovative solutions to address the world most, as well as Singapore's pressing challenges and problems, ranging from food waste, food security, to plastic pollution. I'm also really glad to see that all of you also find creative ways to communicate and bring your ideas to life. persuading others of the positive impacts that you will make and the positive changes. Regardless the end result of today, I would say you all have won. Hopefully, through this journey so far, you have gained new exposure, perspectives, or some new insights. And beyond the competition, I hope that you will take away useful skill sets as well as valuable friendship. Taking this opportunity, I would like to thank every participating student to NXplorers Singapore 2020. I would also like to thank all the teachers and judges for your support and efforts. Last but not least, of course, thanks go to Singapore Science Centre, our great partner for everything. Thank you, everyone. Good luck and stay well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Liu. Students, mentors, and teachers and facilitators in the NXplorers program have continued to stay connected and committed to the course during 2020, which have proved an unprecedented season for the competition going digital in light of the COVID-19 situation. In view of this, students have attended online workshops, contested in online pitching event, engaged in mentoring sessions with representatives from Shell and Science Centre Singapore, and participated in an exclusive virtual learning journey to Shell and Pacific Light to see the latest innovations and engage with inspiring innovators and engineers there. As the competition carried on, 5 teams were shortlisted as finalists who rigorously prepared for today's finals after coming a long way following proposals, pitching, prototyping, and presentations. The teams are: the first team will be Team Matzi from Cedar Girls Secondary School, Team Serial Killer from Loyang View Secondary School, Team Jellyfarmers from Cedar Girls Secondary School, Team C2H4 Filter Feeders from Nanyang Girls High School, and lastly, Team The Fanplastic 5 from Cedar Girls Secondary School. Stay tuned to witness their fine-tuned project presentations and see how they fare with the public voting and the judging panel, who are represented today from the various industries. The illustrious panel of judges include Mr. Loh Seng Yi, VP Sales, Asia Pacific, Shell Catalyst and Technologies Private Limited, Shell Companies in Singapore. Mr. Kwong Kok Chan, Deputy General Manager for Special Projects at Pacific Light Power Private Limited. And lastly, Mr. Samuel Lee, Special Project Teams Engineer Lead at Hope Technique Private Limited. Over the next hour, they will be assessing the presentations by our student finalist groups. Guests of Science Centre, students, ladies and gentlemen, we encourage you to participate and join the public voting, which accounts for 10% of the team's final score. To do this, simply scan the QR code or enter the link shown at the bottom of the screen. Watch the students' presentations, pick your favorite group and cast a vote. The public voting closes at 4 p.m. sharp, after which the voting window closes, which means no votes can be cast. We wish our finalist groups all the very best and invite Team Matzi to kickstart the group presentations. Team Matzi, are you ready? Your 10 minutes starts now.
So, Alyssa, what do you think about the food waste converter?
Oh my gosh, it was seriously super cool. Who knew there was such a novel and unique way to minimize the impacts of my food waste? But can I ask, all I have to do is dump my food waste into the bin. But how does it actually work and how does it make it into fertilizer?
I'm not too sure actually. Well, do you want to learn more about the technical aspects of the system?
Yes, please.
Good afternoon to all the judges and audiences behind the camera. I am Angeline, and this is Alyssa, Shannon, and Yahan, and we are Team Mazi.
Before we get started, we would like to remind the judges that should they require a more comprehensive explanation of any part of the presentation, they can refer to the detailed set of slides sent.
In this presentation, we will be briefly introducing our solution.
We will also be going more in depth into the main components we have decided to focus on: the level indicator, the pneumatic pipe system, as well as the process of breaking down the food waste, anaerobic digestion.
We will then address the feedback previously received on the green complement.
Let's get started. Firstly, just what is this all about? The green complement hopes to be an environmentally and economically friendly solution to the growing issue of food waste in Singapore. Despite not being able to fully reduce food waste, with this system in place, we are able to establish a more effective way to use food waste.
Because getting rid of the causes of food wastage is undeniably tougher than reducing its impact, we decided to turn our attention to the consumers, the people at the end of the chain. The green complement cultivates a feel-good factor in its user every time they play a part in alleviating the harmful effects of food wastage.
The green complement consists of a central bin in the residential buildings which collects the food waste of all households in one block and comes with an installed sensor and level indicator which weighs the waste and indicates when the bin has reached full capacity.
A pneumatic pipe system connects this bin into the food converter, which then converts food waste into fertilizer to be used in the greenhouse.
The greenhouse is made of a polycarbonate glass and consists of a water tank and water traps that trap rainwater for sustainable irrigation for crops in the greenhouse. So, how does the level indicator work? A sensor at the bottom of the food waste bin detects the amount of food waste in the bin when it reaches a fixed quota, sending this data to a machine or computer. The level indicator then lights up, alerting residents that a lot of food has been wasted. This sensor also prompts the channeling of the food waste to the food converter via the pneumatic pipe system.
The significance of this level indicator is that it motivates residents to waste less food, since the duration of the time it takes for the level indicator to light up is directly affected by how much food the residents have wasted. And since the amount of food waste each household has wasted is unknown, it is a collective effort on everyone's part to ensure they don't waste too much food and that the light doesn't turn red.
A pneumatic sensor also moderates the way the platform of the food waste bin is lowered, so as to avoid abrupt movement should an extremely heavy load suddenly be dumped on top.
Now, let's move on to the foodie converter. Our foodie converter will adopt the process of anaerobic digestion to break down the food waste into simpler substances that will not only power the system together with the solar energy from the installed solar panels on the greenhouse, but will also fertilize the crops.
Anaerobic digestion involves four main processes: hydrolysis, fermentation, acetogenesis, and methanogenesis.
In hydrolysis, complex organic matter is broken down into soluble organic molecules such as glucose and fructose with water. These soluble organic molecules, as seen in the chemical equations on the slides, will be used later on. It is also during this process that fertilizer is produced.
During fermentation, the soluble compounds are converted into hydrogen and carbon dioxide by bacteria. During this process, acetic acid is formed from glucose and will be used later on to form methane, which will power the pneumatic pipe system and greenhouse. After which, acetic acid, fatty acid, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen gas are obtained.
Acetogenesis occurs through carbohydrate fermentation, where acid phase products are converted into acetate and hydrogen. During the hydrolysis of lipids, a long chain of fatty acids is oxidized into acids and hydrogen gas is formed. As a result, a combination of acetate, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen is produced. In methanogenesis, methanogenic bacteria converts acetic acid and hydrogen into carbon dioxide and methane via acetate conversion. This is coupled with the fermentation of alcohol. As a result, methane, carbon dioxide gas, and water is formed. In simple terms, we want to use the natural decomposing properties of matter in a series of simple biological processes to turn our food waste into something more productive, in this case, fertilizer and energy. Now, we will be showing you a physical demonstration of how a pneumatic pipe system works. As can be seen from the physical demonstration, the food waste from the food converter is transported to the greenhouse via the pneumatic pipes by vacuum. Once the soil beds are filled with fertilizer, it triggers a pause and the pneumatic pipes stop transporting the fertilizer until it is used up by the crops. This is called a feedback closed-loop system and enables the whole process of transportation to be efficient, energy-saving, and automated.
Now you may be wondering, why is it that we chose to convert our food waste by anaerobic digestion? An anaerobic digester, although only one component, can significantly improve the environmental performance and efficiency of the overall system. Food waste conversion by such a process can result in many beneficial side effects.
Not only does the storage and land applications of the food waste converter greatly reduce odor nuisance, especially with it being underground, but the converted fertilizer can also result in a value-added product that can be sold to others.
Additionally, plant nutrients are conserved and transformed. Since digesters are also reducing environment, the potential for capture of plant nutrients that are highly beneficial for plant growth exists.
Anaerobic digestion also results in the reduced emission of greenhouse gases. Our anaerobic digester is a controlled environment that captures methane and then uses it for energy to power the system.
To address the feedback received from the semi-finals, firstly, we researched on estates with rooftop and communal spaces for our greenhouses. With allotment schemes, new features such as rooftop gardens and urban farms can be developed. Judges may also refer to the set of detailed slides for examples of spaces in Singapore which already have the adopted rooftop gardens.
In regard to the solar panels possibly blocking sunlight from reaching the plants, we have decided that it will be most effective to adopt a concept similar to vertical farming, where crops can continuously move to ensure that optimal sunlight can be obtained for a more efficient crop growth. The solar panels would generally be situated on the top of the greenhouse to absorb more sunlight.
We have also considered the concept of incentivizing or penalizing when people decide to just dump their food waste into public bins. Engagement of grassroots leaders and community centers for participation in the project, as well as the advocacy of community cooperation in maintaining these greenhouses and providing rebates for people who help to reduce food waste will provide sustainability for the project in the long run.
The automated system is run by a computer that incorporates the data of the weight of the food waste transmitted regularly by the level indicator. To document the receptiveness of residents, we surveyed Singaporeans ranging from teenagers to young adults and represented our data with this graph. From the graph, a large majority of adults and teenagers of our respondents have shown to be more receptive to a change in the discarding of their food waste.
I understand all that, but what is so special about the green complement and why should the audience vote for you guys? I mean, it uses anaerobic digestion to convert food waste, but that's already a developed process that has been happening for years.
That's a great question. The green complement is unique in the sense that it encompasses existing resources and structures and is able to sustain itself. The whole system makes use of system integration, where we channel the natural laws of physics, chemistry, and biology into fulfilling our role and recycling our waste. Our methods may not be complicated, and it may not be a convoluted plan to save the earth, but the green complement attempts to integrate science with sustainable means to enable us to achieve our vision of a sustainable green future. In that way, you don't necessarily have to be a genius in order to understand or play a part in our project.
All that is needed is a good heart and a desire to make the environment a better place for everyone to live in. Before we end this presentation, we would like to leave you with our trademark quote. We keep the world greening and your food waste reducing. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now have the Q&A from the judges.
I have a question. Your project is target only organic food, or something else extra. Secondly, your so-called food waste converter, where can it be used? Can it be cost-effective use at home, or it can be upscale to use it at the hawker center? Thirdly, for maintenance, you have been talking earlier about about waste, so-called level indicator. Now you know food waste produce a lot of moisture, also dirt. So what can happen is some of these moisture and the dirt can what they call the blacken or even cover the level indicator. So whatever intended action you want to do probably might be not working. Fourthly, what's the cost of prototype? How can it be upscaled?
For the maintenance, on HDB's website, there's a pneumatic waste conveyance system user guide to teach the residents how to use the pneumatic pipe system and not abuse it. And furthermore, pneumatic pipes don't really require a lot of maintenance, but regular inspections with minor adjustments and basic pneumatic maintenance schedules are forms of preventive maintenance and can prolong the operating life of most pneumatic controls.
Is that true? From my experience, pneumatic system is very energy inefficient and is very subjected to choke.
So for perhaps carry on.
Even if the pneumatic pipe system is like energy insufficient, the system is sustainable because the energy from the solar panels and also from the methane which is produced from anaerobic digestion is enough to power the whole system.
To add on, we did a little bit more research on anaerobic digestion, and you did mention that it may be energy costly, but when we research anaerobic digestion, we figured that the production of methane gas, which is a biogas, can be used to power these the greenhouse and the pneumatic pipes, and hence this serves as like a sense of self-sustainability as well, because it doesn't, by using these biogases, we can do without the burning of fossil fuels, which also helps to bring benefits to our overall environment in Singapore as well.
A question on the viability portion, right? That you have quite a lot that sits outside the house, as in the greenhouses and the pneumatics. In your surveys and discussions with people, who will be paying for the equipment and maintaining the equipment outside of the various households? Unfortunately, we can't hear you right now. I think we've lost sound from the
different stakeholders can like pay for this kind of stuff. For example, we believe that we can engage sponsors and people such as grassroots leaders.
Also mentioned in the feedback section just now, advocation of community cooperation can also help to like maintain the greenhouses.
Definitely, as students, we do not have much power to gain much money to fund this project, but we hope that if we're given the chance, if we're able to implement this project in our country, we hope to be able to speak to different sponsors and organizations to gain their support for our project, to gain funds for the long run to run this project.
The installation of the greenhouses can also be quite costly because if we want to have it on the rooftop, then the underlying structures might have to be strengthened. But when weighing the cost and benefits, like with a reduced amount of food waste, which is a very negative economical impact, if we can reduce the amount of food waste,
Thank you, students. That was Team Matzi. Please remember to vote for them, and public voting accounts for 10% of the team's total score. Now let's hear from Team Serial Killer. Team Serial Killer, are you ready? Your 10 minutes starts now.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team Serial Killer from Loyang View Secondary. Today, we'll be introducing our solution in an effort to reduce food waste. To start things off, we will briefly explain why you shouldn't waste food, followed by our solution. And lastly, we will be explaining the benefits of our product. Let's explore. As we know, food is wasted in every point from farm to fork. Water and energy is wasted at every point, starting from production to manufacturing, but it eventually ends in the trash. As compared to other countries, Singapore is ranked 9 out of all countries in terms of food wastage per person, as of 2017, with about 142 kilograms per person. We cannot let this remain. I will now hand you over to Kirsty to elaborate on why we should tackle this problem.
Thank you, Harith. Over here, we can see how the factors affect each other. For example, energy is used during the production of food, which will contribute to global warming and negatively impact the biodiversity. These are only some of the factors, but if we look at the bigger picture, we can see many more factors impacted by the food waste. We had observed the food supply chain to see which categories we should target to reduce the largest amount of food waste. For example, there will be food waste generated during manufacturing due to the trimming of the product and discarding of ugly products. We had also noted that food waste is generated through all the categories of the food supply chain. Hence, we chose to target the consumers and restaurants to reduce the demand, and this in turn will reduce the supply. And together, this will reduce the larger amount of food waste produced. This is why our team came up with the product Plevly. Plevly comes in two parts, the product and the app. The product would have a Bluetooth function that will sync with the app to transmit the data of the food wasted, while the app will analyze and store the data, which my teammate will elaborate afterwards. This is the product sketch we came up with, showing where the food waste goes and where the mixer blades are. And hence, this is the prototype that we had been working on, showing the weighing scale and the mixer blades. There are only 3 simple steps to use Plevly. Step 1. Food waste is represented by the paper, is added and weighed. Step 2. Scan the food waste through the camera and the data will be sent to the Plevly app. Step 3. Turn on Plevly and watch it turn the food waste into fertilizer, which I will let Sabrina to talk about the technology behind it.
Thanks, Kirsty. We are using dynamic high-temperature aerobic fermentations, DHAF. This technology involves high temperatures will allow us to rapidly degrade food waste. With this technology, we will help to reduce total harmful gas by at least 7%. Therefore, we will collect fertilizer at collection point, transfer to the urban farming company we work with. Furthermore, let me introduce our apps. These apps help us tackle food waste in Singapore. Where you can see is our homepage. For more info, I will hand you to Harith.
Thank you, Sabrina. The first feature is a camera. The camera is used to capture a type of food waste and also to capture images of food for food sharing. To elaborate, let's look at the next slide. The feature My Food Waste tracks the weight of the food from Plevly and displays it as a line graph. We added this feature so users can see the amount of food they waste. The previously mentioned camera is used to capture the type of food waste in Plevly. The next feature shows the location of shared food for collection. Food shared can be for anyone at any scale. For example, you are in an office and you have a box of leftover donuts. Instead of throwing them away, you can use this feature to tell your co-workers that they are free to take or just sell it at a cheaper price to reduce waste. Collection points for fertilizer and public use Plevlys, or PP for short, around Singapore will have the exact locations displayed under the collection points and PP feature. Fertilizer collection points are locations where fertilizer can be bought. PP, on the other hand, are Plevly machines, collection points for waste, open to public and nearby restaurants for shared use. As a way to encourage people to use Plevly, we added a voucher system to reward users for their effort. Lastly, there will also be flashcards generated to give users advice on how to reduce food waste. I will now hand you back to Sabrina.
Why should you use Plevy? Plevy is compact, is easy to use, as it only requires 3 steps to produce fertilizer. It's affordable and suitable for home user. It allows you to share food with others. It raises personal awareness on how much food you're wasting. Lastly, it allows you to save money, save food at the same time. Let me sum up for you. Recycle food waste by turning it into fertilizer and make use in urban farming in Singapore. Make food waste back to the production chain. With Plevy, you save edible foods by sharing to others. I will now hand over to Arika. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. I'll first introduce our marketing plan and what we will accomplish with Plevly. Since Plevly is a fairly new product to the public, we thought of raising public awareness of the product by using social media platforms to promote it, collaborating with like-minded influencers as they are able to promote and change the audience's impression of Plevly, and we might have referrals from the influencers. We can also work together with eco-friendly organizations like the National Environment Agency (NEA), as they would be able to promote and encourage more people to use our product without worrying about Plevly being harmful to the environment. Lastly, we could educate the public on how Plevly works and the benefit it brings to the environment. Although we intend to implement Plevly in many designated areas, our plan to raise public awareness will first start in the school compound. This is because it is more accessible to us as we are still students. For the first month, we will be collecting the data of food scraps produced by the users without the use of Plevly. In the second month, we will then introduce Plevly to the users and start to collect the food waste data. We can then give advice on ways to reduce wasting food from the data collected from the second month. During the third month, we will then conduct a trial and collect the data with the use of Plevly one more time. In our final part, we will analyze the impact of Plevly and compare the difference of data among all 3 months. We can then modify Plevly according to the user's comment to satisfy and improve their needs. We hope to measure the reduction of food waste impacted by Plevly to the users with the data collected. This also includes measuring how adaptable Plevly is to the users. Since I've highlighted my part of this presentation, I'll now hand over to Kaisara.
Thank you, Arika. Now I will elaborate more of the intended outcome of Plevly. If the number of food waste reduces during the trial run in the school, Plevly will be introduced to restaurants. If the demand for Plevly in restaurants increases, more awareness of food wastage and Plevly will spread. If more people use Plevly, more collection points will be opened under HDB estates. These are some of the groups of people that will benefit from Plevly: food companies, AI companies, restaurants, and consumers. The way that consumers will be affected is when they will reduce the amount of groceries bought, which will also provide awareness about food wastage, which links with restaurants as they will realize the amount they cook and know more about food waste. This is just a small part of the ripple effect where groups of people will adjust and change to reduce food waste. So much food was wasted in Singapore. Therefore, Plevly will reduce food waste and change it to fertilizers. We hope that more people will be aware and take further actions about it. Plevly will be able to receive food waste data and encourage people to reduce food waste. It also helps to share unused food to others, and fertilizers created can be given to urban farmers. Throwing away food is like stealing from the table of those who are poor and hungry. We have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now have the Q&A.
Oh.
Okay, thanks for that. Thank you for that presentation. Couple of quick questions. If we think about that ox that's in the house, that's doing the digestion, turning into fertilizer, have you all thought about the smell that's going to be resulting in the house, and what's your solution to that? Unfortunately, we can't hear you again.
yeah, we have thought about the smell because it's food waste. We decided that is about 500 grams for household users since they don't waste a lot of foods, and we will put inside, and then it will be completely airless, so inside it won't decay so fast, and it will block the smell when we fully close the machines, and eventually when we produce it into fertilizer, there's some filter that will help with the smell.
Okay. The last thing you also mentioned on the equipment itself, you said it was the high temperature process. How high is the temperature you're talking about?
I'm talking about the temperature maximum at 85 degrees Celsius.
Okay, thank you.
So can I ask, what are the byproducts produced from your anaerobic, or rather the process that you're mentioning to turn into fertilizers?
It is just fertilizer and some gas.
More accurately, methane gas, right?
Not really, but if you use the electric to power the fertilizer, it sure have some gas to be used to power the machine, the PV we are introduced. But it will, because we're using this, we actually it help to reduce gases by at least 7% and up to 20% sometimes.
Sorry, to follow up with that question, so have you thought about maybe reusing some of the energy that's produced from the byproducts? Is there any?
It could be possible that we could add in a converter, but we haven't researched that far.
Okay.
I maybe just relate one example in the real world. There was this company called IUT Global, and supposed to collect all the food waste from the restaurant and then convert this waste into fertilizer, at the same time generate energy. But the company collapsed. The biggest problem is the food waste come with not just the inorganic, but also tissue paper, rubber band, all those things. So in your system, if it is going to be used in the hawker center, how do you sort the food? That's one. Secondly, you are saying a very good example how to harness the waste gas, which is the methane. Methane is explosive. How do you make sure that this explosive gas are properly taken care of? So do you need sorting?
For the first part of the question, there are two ways. First of all, we can put up obvious signs like a hawker center. In this machine, only throw away organic food, don't throw tissue paper. But in the case people don't listen or accidents happen, we hope to introduce this technology called the AI scanner. So what it does is that before the process begins, it will scan through the food and look through the food to see if there's to see if there's any inorganic material like tissue paper or spoon or whatever. But our main thing is public education, so that we will tell the public that try not to throw inorganic waste so that we can get proper fertilizer.
Then you're back to IUT Global, in which they have put a lot of manual to take out the paper and the rubber, band, all those things. Anya, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, students. That was Team Serial Killer. Please remember to vote for them. Public voting accounts for 10% of the team's total score. Now let's hear from Team Jellyfarmers. Team Jellyfarmers, are you ready? Your 10 minutes starts now.
By now, most of us would have heard of Singapore's ambitious 30 by 30 goal, whereby 30% of our food supply will be locally produced by 2030. However, right now, only about 1/3 of this goal is achieved. How will we be able to achieve this aim in just 10 years? Good afternoon, judges and audiences. We are the Jellyfarmers from Cedar Girls Secondary School, and today we will introduce our problem statement, propose a solution to help Singapore achieve this goal, and how we plan to implement it.
Before we begin, I'll explain our problem statement. Land scarcity is a real worry in small countries like Singapore. As Singapore is a busy city with limited space for farming, any form of agriculture will both be expensive and insufficient. Constant reliance on foreign imports poses as a threat to our food security, as we are exposed to fluctuating factors such as geopolitical tensions like the US and China trade tensions. This puts Singapore at the mercy of these factors.
Here are the major countries from which Singapore is importing. From these statistics, we can observe that the percentage share of food imports is the highest for Malaysia, followed by Indonesia. Now imagine a scenario where there is ongoing geopolitical tensions between Singapore and these countries. These trade supplies of vegetables will be hit hard, as about 40% of our vegetables are imported from there. If Singapore were to ever face such a situation, we believe that our project can help provide for the demands to a certain extent in the long run.
Now, let's take a look at currently existing solutions. In Italy, there's a project called Nemo's Garden, which is an enclosed farm station on the seabed. However, this requires divers to dive down into the water to harvest crops, making it inconvenient and hard to sustain in the long run. An alternate solution is vertical farming, where layers of crops are stacked vertically in soilless and controlled environment. However, a lot of energy is needed to supply to the artificial light and system. Lastly, there is another project called Earth Bodies, which consists of mini floating farms making use of natural desalination to water the crops. However, this is not space efficient as it only has one layer. Now, let's take a look at our solution. A jelly farm. Our proposed solution is a place for harvesting and obtaining fresh crops without having to invest exorbitantly. Let us first talk about the design aspects of the dome.
Most important aspects of agriculture are light and water. In our system, light rays will enter from the top of the dome. 1/3 of it will be trapped in the first layer. 2/3 of it will reach the lenses in the center. Half of it will reach the diverging lens and provide light for the second layer. The other half of the light rays will reach the converging lens, redirecting them to the diverging lens in the second layer. The light rays will then be diverged into a third layer. In short, lenses are used to concentrate and distribute the light for the crops. Next, water. For irrigation, the main source of water will be the ocean itself. Seawater will then be filtered and pumped up to water plants via sprinklers. Additionally, the hydraulic pump converts the kinetic energy of ocean waves into electricity. Moisture will also be trapped in an enclosed dome, like that of a terrarium, thus watering plants. This is the model of our jelly farm. As you can see, the yellow part is of the sand, and the blue part is of the sea. The jelly farm will be floating on the sea surface on a pontoon. Below the sea, there will be a propeller that converts the kinetic energy of the waves into electricity, which will then be used to power the irrigation system, as you can see here.
The jelly farms would also be situated on floating platforms with gaps for the installation of the hydraulic and filtration pumps, while being anchored to prevent it from floating away. To harvest the crops, one needs to remove the top lid of the glass dome, revealing 3 layers of crops, which are detachable for convenient maintenance and harvest. Now let's take a look at our floating mechanism.
Now, let's move on to the benefits of our jelly farm. Firstly, our dome will be cost efficient compared to other solutions, only costing 64 cents per kilogram of crops as compared to the hydroponics farm, which requires $1.60 per kilogram. This is because our dome obtains water and energy from the sea through the use of our pumps, hence there are Hence, there are no additional costs except for the dome itself.
Our dome will also have high yields, yielding 60 to 300 crops per dome, and a growth period of 2 to 11 weeks, depending on the type of crops planted. Hence, investors will be able to earn revenue from our farm. Here is our food, water, energy nexus. The domes would have a large yield, sustaining families and ensuring food security. This is an energy-efficient solution that uses kinetic energy from the waves to power the dome and sunlight to allow the growth of the crops. Lastly, water is obtained from the sea and filtered before sprinkling. This enclosed dome can further act as a terrarium.
The domes will be space efficient, as they will be located on sea surfaces. Less space could be used for other developments. Furthermore, there are multiple layers stacked within a single dome. Hence, every square inch of space is maximally utilized. This will greatly aid with Singapore's effort to produce more food locally despite land scarcity.
Adding on to the above benefits, the jelly farm is highly scalable and versatile. We foresee that with just minimal, minor modifications made to this model, such as facilities and size, it could be rolled out as potential solutions for similar problems in other countries. For instance, Indonesia turns to deforestation to cope with insufficient farmland, which eventually harms nature and its biodiversity. Farms on sea would then be a viable solution for them. Not only that, our dome is self-sustainable as explained previously. Other benefits also include being easy to maintain due to its small size, profitability in the long run, and it is aesthetically pleasing.
Moving on, let's introduce the stakeholders involved. Firstly, individuals like you who purchase our dome will be able to cultivate crops for yourself and your families. Secondly, for those working in the farming sector, our dome will serve as an efficient platform for crop production, as it is lucrative, cost-efficient, and yields organic crops. Lastly, investors and companies who buy our farm will be able to showcase their support and advocacy for local farming, thus forming a good impression for their company. Therefore, jelly farms will support local production of food, allowing Singapore to be self-reliant where COVID-19 has reinforced its paramount importance.
Now, we'll move on to the planning and implementation of the dome. So here, we present to you our jelly farm subscription menu. Different groups of customers will be able to choose their preferred subscription method accordingly based on their needs. For example, for individuals who don't require a huge yield, they can opt for just one layer. If a company would like to use our jelly farm to grow large amounts of crops to market, they can rent many domes for higher production to meet their customer demands. Moving on, we will promote our jelly farm by displaying our prototype at community centers and conduct workshops to familiarize them with the public. We will also create outreach mediums, including the usage of social media platforms to showcase this project.
Specifically, we plan to locate these domes at Sembawang Park, as there are fewer recreation activities there compared to other beaches in Singapore, hence causing lesser disruption to residents' routines. The domes will be placed along the shoreline of up to half of the beach area, where 50 domes will be placed at each location, with 1 to 2 meter distancing. By placing them at the shoreline, the public can enjoy the view of the domes as well as the sea, and thus making harvesting convenient as well.
Despite having many benefits, a flaw in our project will be the expansion of these domes located on sea surfaces. When this happens, less sea surface would be left available for other activities like water sports. Anyways, we also have some future improvements, such as placing these domes at a wider variety of locations around Singapore, making it more accessible for everyone. These domes can also be expanded to other industries, such as education and tourism, by providing educational farm tours. Not only that, we can add fish farms at the bottom of our domes if these domes are located further into the sea.
We've come to the end of our presentation, and we hope that we have sufficiently shown you the capabilities of our dome in bringing about positive change in Singapore. 3, 2, 1. In our dome we trust, for our home we must. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now have the Q&A.
Good presentation and good ideas. My question is salinity of seawater important in the prototype? Do you need very clean seawater?
we do not, hi, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, we do not need the salinity of the seawater doesn't matter. It's because it is being filtered through our filtration system that we showed previously. And as long as there is a water flow and waves through our hydraulic pump, we can actually pump the water into the filtration system and ensure that clean water will be sprinkled to our crops.
That's the theory part. In real world, when you pump in seawater, you will bring in the eggs of barnacle. So the barnacle will choke out your filter.
We will try to clean our filters regularly, and also if we do a project for a while and we have enough money, we can possibly look to buying a higher tech filter that will help to clean itself.
Yeah, I did want to ask a little bit more about that one. You did show in your schematic that you would take seawater, you would filter it of particulates, and then you would use it to water, to irrigate the plants. Did I get that wrong?
That's correct.
You would be watering the plants with seawater.
No, the seawater will be filtered, so then it will remove the salt, and thus clean water will be used to water the plants.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Okay. Okay, desalination by filtration is a very nice thing to have. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it's possible. Okay, a separate question if I can ask. How big is each of these farms physically? Because you mentioned you would remove the top of the dome in order to harvest.
The diameter is 1.5 meters, and it's also 1.5 meters tall.
Okay.
So can I ask, what prevents the domes from floating away with being carried out to sea?
The sea.
Sorry, what?
We will have anchors at the bottom that connects the pontoon, the bottom of the pontoon, to the sea floor.
Okay, can I ask another question? So when the sun hits the lenses that you have proposed in the center to actually refract light into second and third layers, how do you think that would affect the entire ecosystem inside the dome with respect to heat?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of your question?
How do you manage heat in the dome?
We also plan to put thermostats in the domes in the future to regulate the temperature. So it is also a way for us to, for Singapore to grow crops that we can't possibly grow right now because we do not have the climate for it.
I'm quite intrigued by using seawater. So, and my impression when you presented, I thought you were going to grow jelly, And jelly is high protein, highly productive.
Our farm is called a jelly farm because it's like in the shape of a jelly, I guess.
Yeah. In a sense, it's a jellyfish, during our ideation process, we kind of changed our projects here and there. At first, it was supposed to be underwater. Yeah. So it just came about that way.
Well, the other question is, how do you use the seawater to water your vegetable plant? Have you investigated what kind of...
It doesn't necessarily have to be a filtration system. It can also be like desalination process. With all the high-tech technologies right now, I'm pretty sure it's possible.
Also, if we cannot do that, then we'll get the seawater separately, and then we'll desalinate it, and then we'll use that seawater to then put it inside the domes.
Reverse osmosis? I don't know it. Okay, time's up.
Okay.
Thank you, students. Thank you, students. That was Team Jellyfarmers. Please remember to vote for them. Public voting accounts for 10% of the team's total score. Let's now hear from Team C2H4 Filter Feeders. Team C2H4 Filter Feeders, are you ready? Your 10 minutes starts now.
Remember Jaws, the thrilling and terrifying movie all of you loved? People used to be scared of sharks, but now we have an even more dangerous threat suddenly killing us from the inside. Microplastics. In 2016, a coelacanth, a sea creature thought to have been extinct 65 million years ago, was found dead in our oceans. Its potential cause of death? Plastic potato chip wrappers. Such examples are endless. Over 100 million marine animals die each year due to plastic pollution.
Now you might be thinking, what does this have to do with me? Everything. Although there have not been any known human deaths caused by the consumption of plastics, that future is approaching fast. Especially since on average, a person is already consuming about a credit card's worth of microplastic in a week, a clothes hanger in a month, and a microplastic hamster in a year.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our dear panel of judges, and our wonderful live audience giving us support. We are Nasia, Casey, and Yuening, the C2H4 filter feeders from Nanyang Girls High School. For us Singaporeans, the presence of microplastics in our water is not a concern. Singapore is known for its reverse osmosis system, which is extremely effective in purifying water. However, it isn't the cheapest or the most effective, or the most energy efficient. A recent Straits Times article has stated that in 2000, it cost about $500 million to run the system. By 2015, the cost had risen to $1.3 billion. Hence, this would not be available for people in third world countries.
Fret not. Here, we present to you the microvortex. Feel the water difference. This device removes microplastics in our water and reduces the cost of doing so. What are microplastics? Microplastics are tiny pieces of plastic that have broken off from disintegrated primary sources and are less than 5 millimeters in length.
As it is impossible to experiment it on humans, not much is known about the impacts of microplastics on our health. However, experts have stated numerous health problems that may possibly emerge from the consumption of microplastics. We are especially vulnerable to biomedification, the accumulation of toxic products, such as those in plastic in a food chain. The toxic chemicals present in microplastics have already been discovered in human breast milk and are known to cause developmental issues or delays in children, such as cancer, birth defects, and the list goes on. Studies have also estimated that more than 50% of the human population have microplastics in their feces, showing us how urgent this issue is.
For some magical reason though, Mother Nature always seems to have a solution. Our microvortex is a device inspired by the mechanisms within a filter feeder's throat. Filter feeders, such as manta rays and whale sharks, possess this to capture large amounts of plankton and krill, ranging from 200 micrometers to 10 millimeters for food. Moving on to the device, let's first take a look at the 3D version of the microvortex. This prototype lacks the bristles component of our microvortex, but it does show a gist of how it should look.
How does the device work? Firstly, we have the ridges, which allow cross-flow filtration and vortex filtration to work. Cross-flow filtration is a form of filtration where polluted water flows tangentially to a partially permeable membrane. Since microplastics are constantly pushed away by water, this prevents clogging, unlike in dead-end filtration.
As for vortex filtration, small vortices formed at the ridges shunt the microplastics to the center, pushing it to the collection point. Together with cross-flow filtration, these small vortices cause microplastics to skim across the top of the ridges.
the microplastics are moved further down, eventually reaching the collection point.
On top of this, the ridges interferes with the movement of water and encourages it to form an even larger vortex around the device, swinging water out while some microplastics get stuck in the bristles. The bristles act as the extra and last filtering mechanism that traps microplastics. The filtered water leaves through slits at the side of the device.
Our device filters microplastics and other insoluble substances first, and only soluble substances will be left to be filtered through reverse osmosis. This helps to prolong the lifespan of the reverse osmosis membranes, since less particles will be sifted through it, and hence decreasing costs.
Of course, we have made some modifications to our original design of the microvortex after the workshop we attended and with the comments of the judges. Using the NX tools, we brainstormed for ways to improve and upgrade the initial version of the microvortex and narrowed down the ideas we had.
In terms of implementation, it doesn't necessarily need to be for filtering water in flats. It can be used to filter water for fish farms, like kelongs, so that the fish we eat from there will also consume less microplastics, but at the same time, live in natural seawater.
In addition, we have made our bristles detachable. By making them detachable, they can be cleaned easily so as to reuse the same bristles for easy maintenance.
We have also decided to make our microvortex modular with the rubbish chute concept. So, the microvortex will have a larger scale collection area to make cleaning more efficient and reduce the intervals which the microvortex needs to be cleaned. Multiple units of microvortex are connected simultaneously to increase effectiveness of filtering microplastics. Having modular units will also reduce the downtime of the system being shut down as well. Here is a diagram illustrating exactly how the microvortex will be set up.
After microplastics are collected, we can use newly discovered special enzymes that break down plastics to get rid of them. Alternatively, sunlight can be used to change the microplastics into useful substances.
So, how does the microvortex complement reverse osmosis? Reverse osmosis uses 3 to 10 kilowatt hours of electrical energy to produce 1 cubic meter of fresh water, while the microvortex uses natural gravitational potential energy. Centrifugal force required to filter microplastics is already caused by design of the unit.
Frequent maintenance and changing of filters every 6 to 9 months is required in reverse osmosis, while the microvortex is reusable and easier to clean and maintain.
Cost-wise, reverse osmosis membranes are not reusable yet difficult and expensive to manufacture. The microvortex prolongs the lifespan of reverse osmosis filters, so they are replaced less often, making water more affordable for everyone.
Here's a little experiment we did to show proof of concept. Toothbrush replens bristles, plastic bottles the microvortex, and glitter the microplastics. Glitter is seen to be collected at the bristles and at the collection point. Here is our physical prototype. As for materials we plan to use, the main body of the microvortex will be made of copper and the bristles of nylon and castor bean oil.
With regards to future plans, this can be implemented in Singapore. Singapore already uses the reverse osmosis system, so the microvortex can be easily set up to lower cost of purifying water. For other home countries that may not be using the same water purification system, more modifications will have to be made and discussed. This is because our device itself is unable to filter water entirely. Reverse osmosis is still required.
That is all for our presentation. We hope that everyone will try their best to reduce their plastic usage. This device alone would not be enough to rid of this problem entirely. We still need your help to do so.
A big thank you to everyone for listening to us. We really appreciate all your support. Once again, we are the C2H4 filter feeders presenting to you the microvortex. Feel the water difference. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now have the Q&A.
Okay. It so happened my plant have a reverse osmosis. So when the water comes in, we do a lot of filtration. So we started with ultrafiltration, which is remove particle up to 5 micron. Your point is how to remove smaller than 5 micron. Am I right? So if this is the case, yes?
Actually, our point is like so that we can remove the microplastics and other insoluble substances first, so that there will only be soluble substances left to be filtered by reverse osmosis, so that the membranes will be able to last longer, and so it will decrease costs and make water more affordable.
No doubt, yes. You see, in the practical desalination plant, there is already a micro or ultra filters. Remove all microplastic. And to maintain this ultra filter, we don't usually do physical cleaning. So we add chemical, we have anti-scalant, and it's always self-cleaning reverse flow. Yeah. So I cannot understand why your micro vortex how to complement the ultrafiltration or microfiltration.
Because compared to for the ultrafiltration and nanofiltration, it's very energy intensive. So our microvortex, it complements it by using natural gravitational potential energy. So instead, because in those processes, you need man-made energy, like fossil fuels need to be burned to be able to push the water through the filter, right? But our device is you just how you say, you just pour the water in through the top, so then it will naturally filter it out using gravitational potential energy. Yeah. So it reduces the energy needed. I mean, no, it reduces the fossil fuels needed to be burned, I guess. Yeah, because less the energy needed is natural. Yeah.
Okay, if I can interrupt and ask another question. You did mention that the water in our domestic water is already filtered, so that's not where the problem is. So if you're thinking about who and where you would deploy or sell your microvortex, where would it go primarily?
So for now, we are still testing it out in Singapore because we in our plan, we initially wanted to complement reverse osmosis with the microvortex. But for other countries, they may not be using microvortex, but we still are able to implement it there because it will still be beneficial and it will make the water more affordable because it will prolong the lifespan of existing membranes that are used for filtering by other countries. And at the same time, it will help to remove microplastics as well.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, can you just explain again how does the water go through your filter? Because you say we pour the water from the top and it comes out at the bottom. So how are we going to put the water on top before you pour it in?
Oh, as in it wasn't actually pour. It's just it will be put into the pipes how current reverse osmosis, those kind of systems are used. So basically, it's not a pot. It's just taken in from the current water sources already.
Okay. And sorry, just a side note. So you guys intended to have copper as the material, and you mentioned that you might want to look at fish farms to clean the water in fish farms to prevent microplastic consumption in the fish. I don't think copper might be a good idea, so maybe you might want to think about other materials so that it can survive seawater.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I think your microvortex probably not so good for reverse osmosis. But you are talking about purifying, say, river water where it can be filtered inexpensively, that is where it can use. So I think my fellow judge will bring up a point, and copper usually very easily corrode in the seawater. So instead of copper, you can substitute it with so-called titanium or FRP. We call it fiberglass kind of material. That will make it easier.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, students. And that was Team C2H4 filter feeders. Please remember to vote for them. Public voting accounts for 10% of the team's total score. Let's now hear from Team The Fan Plastic 5. Team The Fan Plastic 5, are you ready?
Yes.
Your 10 minutes starts now.
Transporting you to Indonesia.
Hey Tiffany, you seem really down. What's going on?
I was just preparing a fish dish for my family, but when I sliced open the belly of the fish, I found that it was filled with plastic waste.
Are you serious? How?
The oceans are now filled with plastic waste and aquatic animals are constantly swallowing them.
What can we do to solve this problem? Good afternoon, everyone. We're the Fan Plastic 5. I am Amber, and this is Caitlin, Tiffany, Cadence, and Shania. Our aim is to continue the ease of use of plastics without damaging on Earth, and today we'll be showing you how. Today, we'll be going through these 4 main points: the problem, our solution, why it works, and how it works.
So what exactly is the problem?
Well, Indonesia is the largest producer of plastic and food waste in Southeast Asia. Plastic enters the seawater when there is improper disposal, polluting it and affecting aquatic ecosystems. People consume food from these waters, affecting their health. However, a lot of energy is required to remove plastic from these water bodies.
Okay, but I don't see what's so urgent.
By 2025, the amount of plastic waste leaking into Indonesia's waters will increase to 800,000 tons if no action is taken. Aquatic animals also end up consuming food waste. The food chain is affected, and who knows, maybe in the future, fish and chips will become a fine dining delicacy. Chemicals such as BPA are also absorbed by the body and have negative effects on human health.
Fish and chips becoming fine dining? I just can't imagine that.
We have an idea, and that is converting food waste into bioplastics.
How are we going to solve it then?
Bioplastics are biodegradable materials that come from renewable sources. They allow for enhanced disposal and recycling, which lessens the burden of waste systems. Bioplastic degrades naturally and does not pollute the environment. Overall, it reduces dependence on fossil resources and improves a product's carbon footprint.
So you mean through our solution, we can convert food waste into bioplastic, giving it a new life? And bioplastic replaces conventional plastics, reducing their use and waste?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, but how does it work?
Here is a video prototype that we have created.
We are going to take you on a journey of what happens to your food in a world where there is bioplasticking. After you eat your food in a restaurant, it is transported into our bioplastic manufacturing facility. After pre-treatment, the food waste becomes a liquid mixture which then undergoes centrifugation. The mixture is spun at an accelerated speed, and centrifugal force action helps to separate particles of different sizes. Larger particles get further away from the center, while smaller particles stay close to the center. The result is 3 sludges: saccharides, proteins, and fatty acids. The 3 sludges then have bacterial cultures added to them, which synthesize the molecules into PHA bioplastic. The bioplastic is then used for various purposes such as packaging and PPE. After the end of its life, our bioplastic is then collected and transported to a decomposition facility. Here, it decomposes, forming methane gas. Pipes connected to the underground engines transport the methane gas to turbines, which helps generate electricity via the generator using kinetic energy. Likewise, for the electrical generator as seen here.
Wow, can you tell me more about the methane gas part?
Methane is a byproduct of the decomposition of PHA, which can produce electricity. This powers our machine, which makes it self-sustainable. Not only are we recycling the bioplastics produced, we also reduce the greenhouse gas emission when the bioplastic decomposes. Also, biogas produced via anaerobic digestion adds to the self-sustainability of the machine. This can be extracted from the food waste collected and converted into electricity to power the machine, meaning that it will be self-sustainable.
How do we know that it works? Listen carefully to these numbers. In 2009, more than 4,500 biogas plants were in operation in Germany with more than 1,500 megawatts of power capacity. Millions of biogas plants have been installed all over the world within the last 2 decades as well. China is the leading country in anaerobic digestion technology. Besides millions of small biogas plants in farms, there are over 1,000 bigger plants which use industrial waste from paper, sugar, and the pharmaceutical industry.
Now, time for the sciencey part. Centrifugation of the aqueous food waste solution results in 3 different sludges: saccharides, proteins, and fatty acids. Different bacterial cultures are added to each sludge to convert it into PHA. The molecules are synthesized into the microfats that PHA is via a rearrangement of the molecular structure.
Interesting. How does this work?
If you could look at me, let us walk you through something that will help you visualize better. This is a prototype we created as Year 2s, representing our centrifugation machine. The blades in the front represent our centrifuge. When it spins, it creates a centrifugal force. Here, I have with me some paper in 3 different colors and sizes. These represent unseparated biomolecules with different densities. When I feed it into the prototype, it spins, and you can see that the pink paper will fall out. And through this process, we have 3 separated biomolecules.
To further back the process for the synthesis of PHA, a study and experiment conducted by a Canadian university shows that the bacteria Pseudomonas chlorophis cultured with biomolecules produce PHA. In a report written by a Hong Kong university, they stated such bacteria, including Alkaligenus latus, Bacillus megatherium, Cucurbitacus nectator, and Pseudomonas olevorans, are found to convert carbon sources into PHA. And in another 2014 research paper, it was stated that adding bacterial cultures to nutrient sludges produced approximately 70% PHB, which is a type of PHA.
Are there examples for the potential of using food waste?
Yes. In 2006, Malaysia is the largest exporter and producer of palm oil. The industry produced around 50 to 70 tons of biomass, which can be further utilized. In Cambodia, an assessment concluded that the price of sugarcane that can be used for PHA is 10 times lower than that of pure sugar. Buoyant density centrifugation is a well-known method used by many laboratories to separate molecules like what we're doing here. The concept is similar to how butter is made. As cream is spun around at a high speed, it separates into butter and buttermilk.
Hold on, how does our solution help? What's so novel about it?
Firstly, bioplasticking is multifunctional. It will be mainly used for packaging as it has many purposes as they range from brittle to semi-rubber-like. It is biocompatible, making it suitable for medical applications such as PPE.
Secondly, we're not picky when it comes to food waste. Other bioplastics are produced from specific food waste such as grape skins and prawn shells, but ours uses all food waste. The process uses centrifugation to separate the biomolecules, which has never been done before.
Thirdly, it is self-sustainable with methane gas and anaerobic digestion generating clean energy. We don't use energy from fossil fuels. Our machine powers itself, reducing greenhouse gas emissions of bioplastic decomposition.
We also help Indonesia's unemployment rate by hiring workers to transport food waste. We plan to partner with a garbage truck company where their workers will work for us as well. The salary can be increased by around 20%, also lessening poverty.
Lastly, our solution allows for capacity building of the people. We cultivate awareness of this plastic pollution issue and educate the citizens of Indonesia. As you can see, our points form an acronym, MUSIC. With all this coming to play, the future of bioplasticking, being the king of plastics, will be music to everyone's ears.
How will different groups be impacted by the solution?
As the government, I would not have to spend as much resources on reducing plastic pollution, and I can focus on other social economic issues to help the people. Bioplastics can also improve the economy.
As a member of the public, I'm feeling empowered as I can actively play a role in it. Also, through public education, I'm consuming less plastic and playing my part for sustainability.
It's 2060. The world is barely recognizable. Landfills have run out of space, and humans have resorted to dumping their trash everywhere. Plastic, food waste, garbage is all that is seen. We can reverse this. We will be the game changers before it's too late. This is our vision, to ensure that the Earth is not single-handedly destroyed by human beings. It's 2020. Join us in correcting an end-of-world scenario. 1, 2, 3.
What goes into the ocean goes into you!
Thank you!
Thank you for the presentation.
Good job, guys.
We'll now have the Q&A.
I ask a question, but I'm a bit confused. You are dealing with the food waste or the food wrapper and convert this food plastic material into some useful material?
We are turning the organic food waste, so like when you finish your rice, your chicken, your leftover vegetables, we are converting this organic matter into bioplastic to replace conventional plastics.
You are including those meat. Am I right?
Yeah, we are.
And your project is very capital intensive. You require a national funding.
We feel that when the government or like the various countries that we plan to implement this solution in, we can also present it to them, such as what we're doing to y'all right now. And when they see just how novel and just how amazing our solution is, they'll be able to provide more funding to us, and then we can roll out this solution and try our best to solve this very pressing issue of plastic waste.
Now, most problem of food waste is always not just the inorganic or the meat, plus also the plastic, rubber, those things, or tissue paper. Does the manual sorting require?
Sorry, could you repeat your question again?
Most food waste will contain other material, like for instance, real plastic, tissue paper, or even diaper even.
Okay.
So do you need to be sorted?
Okay, so this is where our centrifugation solution comes into play. So the centrifugation works by a centrifugal force. So the molecules and the so-called substances with like a higher density will be closer to the center, while those with a lower density will be further away from the center. So this essentially helps to separate all the different and sort all the different aspects of our food waste. So, yeah.
So, I wanted to ask about that centrifugal stuff that you have, right? So you put the food in before you then centrifuge to separate the components. Do you need a mechanical to chop it up into small parts and all that, because the food is going to be in various sizes?
Yeah, so we will have a sort of like mechanical machine as well to chop everything up into smaller sizes. And we are also planning on adding different solvents to the original solution of food waste to turn it into an aqueous solution, such that through centrifugation, it can everything can be separated.
Okay. In your solution, do you intend this to be a household solution or an industrial solution?
What we are planning to do is first we collect the food waste, right, from the various households into specific bins, and then the centrifugation machine and all our processes will be done in the outskirts of the city. So technically this will not be able to be scaled into household solutions because all of the processes is way too big to do that. But through moving our centrifugal machine and everything to the outskirts, we are still able to collect food waste from as many people as possible. So yes, it will be more of an industrial solution, but we will also be able to collect food waste from the masses.
So in a land scarce country like Singapore, do you think this is applicable to Singapore, where we need to introduce another big facility to handle food waste?
Right. So most of our processes will actually be carried on underground, as you have seen in the video prototype. For example, our methane gas part, our biogas part, and even the centrifugation machine, everything will be underground. So there's actually, even though we are planning to start this project in Indonesia first, it is actually possible for it to be scaled down in Singapore because everything will be underground and there's no need to use too much of above ground spaces.
Okay, thank you.
Has your project ever been tried out in any place in the world?
Various components of our project has been carried out before. For example, the biogas and methane gas part has been carried out before. But combining everything together has not been done before. So yes, it has been carried out in certain scale at various parts of the world.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, students. And that was Team the Fan Plastic 5. Please remember to vote for them. Public voting accounts for 10% of the team's total score. Thank you all 5 student finalist teams for delivering such rousing presentations. Voting closes at 4 p.m, so please vote for your favorite team soon. Public voting accounts for 10% of the team's total score. Our judges will now take some time to evaluate them. Don't go anywhere, as the results will be revealed during the prize presentation ceremony, which will begin very shortly.
Round one, fight!
Do you want this to be you, having to fight just to get the last packet of veggies? If not, then consider purchasing our Jelly Farm, a new and innovative way to grow your own vegetables.
Our Jelly Farm floats on water, using the sea surface without having to use up precious land.
Lenses ensure that each layer gets an equal amount of sunlight so that your plants will grow healthily.
The enclosed dome traps water vapor, helping you water your plants and save water.
And that's really neat.
Not only that, no pests will enter, and hence no pesticide will be needed, giving you quality crops.
It also provides a high yield of 60 servings which can sustain you through emergency situations like COVID-19.
Support us now!
I'm so full.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine because they would never understand.
Then what am I supposed to do with it? Join the voice contact! Huh?
See now, it's like you don't even know anything. You better come and listen to her lecture. Leftovers are collected via a chute leading to a central bin where waste is monitored and a sensor notifies you when you're wasting too much. We don't think much when we throw our unfinished food away, but this waste generates billions of tons of greenhouse gases and aggravates global warming. With the green complement, our food waste can be converted into something more productive. We hope to be able to share our vision of a sustainable green future with you. That's the end of class. Bye-bye. Hey, you done already? Yeah, you told me earlier, Sia. Very cool, right? Yeah, I forgot we should tell me earlier. We keep your world greening and your food waste.
Hello, we're a group of Year 2 students from Cedar Girls Secondary School. I'm Amber. I'm Cadence. I'm Caitlin. I'm Shania.
And I'm Tiffany, and we are the Fantastic Five.
We are tackling the problem of plastic and food waste in Indonesia with bioplastic.
Here's a video explaining how it works.
Food waste is stored into specific bins, then transported to the outskirts, going into a processing station. Food is separated into 3 sludges. In these sludges, bacteria multiply quickly and the nutrients compositions change to synthesize PHA when the bacterial population reaches a high level. PHA bioplastic is formed. PHA can be molded into multiple products. After usage, they are thrown into specific bins and sent to a composing unit with special conditions to help PHA decompose faster. Then, methane is produced. Methane gas produced is transported using a series of pipes and used to power the station.
We had an insightful experience participating in NXplorers, expanding our thought processes and gaining new STEM knowledge. We hope you'll support us and NXplorers. Thank you!
Do you want this to be you, having to fight just to get the last packet of veggies? If not, then consider purchasing our Jelly Farm, a new and innovative way to grow your own vegetables.
Our Jelly Farm floats on water, using the sea surface without having to use up precious land.
Lenses ensure that each layer gets an equal amount of sunlight so that your plants will grow healthily.
The enclosed dome traps water vapor, helping you water your plants and save water.
Now that's really neat.
Not only that, no pests will enter, and hence no pesticide will be needed, giving you quality crops.
It also provides a high yield of 60 servings which can sustain you through emergency situations like COVID-19.
Support us now!
I'm so full.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine because they would never understand.
Then what am I supposed to do with it? Throw in the voice color. Huh?
See now, this one you don't even know anything. You better come and listen to her lecture. Leftovers are collected via a chute leading to a central bin where waste is monitored and a sensor notifies you when you're wasting too much. We don't think much when we throw our unfinished food away, but this waste generates billions of tons of greenhouse gases and aggravates global warming. With the green complement, our food waste can be converted into something more productive. We hope to be able to share our vision of a sustainable green future with you. That's the end of class. Bye-bye. Hey, you done already? Yeah, you told me earlier, Sia. Very cool, right? Yeah, I forgot you told me earlier. We keep your world green and your food waste.
Hello, we're a group of Year 2 students from Cedar Girls Secondary School. I'm Amber. I'm Cadence. I'm Caitlin. I'm Shania.
And I'm Tiffany, and we are the Fantastic Five. We are tackling the problem of plastic and food waste in Indonesia with bioplastic. Here's a video explaining how it works.
Food waste is stored into specific bins, then transported to the outskirts, going into a processing station. Food is separated into 3 sludges. In these sludges, bacteria multiply quickly and the nutrients composition is changed to synthesize PHA when the bacterial population reaches a high level. PHA bioplastic is formed. PHA can be molded into multiple products. After usage, they are thrown into specific bins and sent to a composing unit with special conditions to help PHA decompose faster. Then, methane is produced. Methane gas produced is transported using a series of pipes and used to power the station.
We had an insightful experience participating in NXplorers, expanding our thought processes and gaining new STEM knowledge.
We hope you support us and NXplorers. Thank you.
I would like the world to be sustainable, one where man's needs can be met without creating problems for the earth. However, if we fail to address issues such as food scarcity, lack of clean water, and energy,
there will be increasing problems for humankind. Eventually, Earth may not be able to sustain life. By making small amendments in our own lives and encouraging others to do the same, we can make a positive impact. I want to be an agent of change, which is why I joined the NXplorers program. It introduces complex and creative thinking skills and equips young people like us with the tools we need to apply them.
I believe that through this challenge, we would learn something new and useful. It is an opportunity to apply what we learn in real life. We were first exposed to important Nexus tools, which are very useful in considering perspectives of other stakeholders, exploring alternatives, and making decisions.
We also went on an industrial visit to Jurong Island. It was really fun and it provided my team invaluable information about the application of technologies in the real world.
To qualify for the finals, we had to pitch our idea to Shell. Our team wants to create a sustainable way to desalinate water by using solar energy.
Our team has come up with solutions to harness energy and water to resolve crop production issues. Standing before the judges was really nerve-wracking. There were many great ideas proposed and it was truly a pleasant surprise that we got into the finals!
I learned much about teamwork as the members of my team have rather different personalities, working styles, and preferences. We are glad to have mentors and experts in the field to guide us in the improvement of our prototype. Our families also gave us much support and contributed ideas. I'd like to say to them, thanks a lot.
Our teacher, Mr. Mong, and our mentors spent a lot of their time guiding and helping us with our projects. In particular, Mr. Mong challenged me to think further, work harder, and dream bigger. We are certainly very grateful to have them as our teacher and mentors.
From Fodrick Secondary School! We are
Imagine a future where communities are self-sustainable by using local resources.
Next tools and next thinking.
We learn to dig deeper into the problems.
Come up with ideas that will lead to a sustainable future.
And develop action plans to bring about change.
We can help make the world a better place.
Shell NXplorers!
How do we start a farm in the desert? Any ideas?
Tough, right? So let's look at it another way. How do people collect clean water in the desert?
Is there an easy way to collect even more?
What fruits and vegetables can grow in the desert?
How can we best use the energy sources available to us?
We imagined a future where local communities living in the desert are able to produce enough food to sustain themselves using resources available in their area.
We use tools from Shell's NXplorers program to come up with ideas that will lead to a sustainable future.
We could remove the salt from the seawater.
We could grow beans, melons, peppers, or even tomatoes.
The desert has plenty of sunlight. What if we use solar power?
The NX Tools opens our minds towards different ways of solving the same problems and helps us figure out which one of our ideas would work better.
We could focus on farming plants that only need a small amount of water to grow.
We could use solar energy to distill clean water.
By looking at the bigger picture, we managed to better understand how everything is connected.
And dig deeper into the problems.
We created ideas that would help us to get to the future and developed action plans to implement the change.
We worked with engineers to design a machine that uses solar energy to collect clean water from the sea.
Using the sun as a renewable energy source, we evaporated enough seawater to use in a market garden.
NXplorers helped us develop our awareness, knowledge, and new thinking skills.
It helped us to understand how to better use NX tools and NX thinking to solve real-life problems.
It helped us to develop new skills to deal with real-life challenges.
The local community was so impressed with our solution that they've come to us with a new challenge.
It's our turn to make the world a better place.
Shell NXplorers!
We can help young people
to learn how to tackle complex real-world challenges,
see themselves as positive agents of change,
and give them practical tools they can apply to any complex situation.
Next Tools and Next Thinking can help students develop their creative thinking skills
and come up with tangible solutions for a sustainable future. As teachers, sometimes we challenge tough questions from our students.
How do we grow food in the desert?
How can we best use the energy sources available to us?
Shell's NXplorers program teaches young people the complex and creative skills needed to tackle questions like how to turn an arid desert landscape into productive agricultural land.
Shell NXplorers helps them achieve positive change
and build up an expertise for their adult lives.
We focus on 3 steps:
explore, create and change,
which enables the students to come up with their own tangible solutions to complex problems
and develop creative ways of thinking.
Shell NXplorers is built on the foundations of Next Thinking.
Next Thinking is a combination of ideas around scenario planning, systems thinking and theory of change.
Shell NXplorers learn how to see the bigger picture, engage with the issues on a deeper level, and open their minds towards different ways of solving problems.
The Shell NXplorers program can help young people to solve real everyday problems, such as the water, food, energy nexus.
How can we encourage more people to use the local bus service?
On to the next challenge then.
With the tools and the thinking Shell's NXplorers program brings to the table, now it's their turn to make the world a better place.
Come and find out more.
Shell NXplorers!
When curiosity takes hold and imagination takes over, where will you find your answers? What will you do when inspiration strikes? Coming close and listen closer. Go beyond the constructs of today and invent your own tomorrow. So, what will you create?
So, with the magnetic force pulling the items upwards, both the paperclip and the coin can now stand on their own. Class, do you have any questions?
But how does the magnetic force counter gravity? Should I ask? I don't want to sound stupid in front of the class. Should I sit with them?
terrifying. Right here at Science Centre Singapore, we are able to view the fire tornado in an up-close, safe and controlled environment. There are also other places where you can view fire tornadoes. Unfortunately, those will be at the bush fire or forest fire.
I guess no one will realize if I'm gone anyway. Electricity zips through the air, creating sparks. Wow! A robotic origami flower. The brain can be tricked. The more times light bounces, the more reflections we see. If a material can be charged, it can store static electricity. Wingardium Leviosa!
What's he doing? Let's go see. Let's go see.
Can I borrow a bottle? Release the pressure of the compressed air.
Imagine a future where communities are self-sustainable by using local resources.
Next tools and next thinking.
We learn to dig deeper into the problems.
Come up with ideas that will lead to a sustainable future.
And develop action plans to bring about change.
We can help make the world a better place.
Shell NXplorers!
How do we start a farm in the desert? Any ideas?
Tough, right? So let's look at it another way. How do people collect clean water in the desert?
Is there an easy way to collect even more?
What fruits and vegetables can grow in the desert?
How can we best use the energy sources available to us?
We imagined a future where local communities living in the desert are able to produce enough food to sustain themselves using resources available in their area.
We use tools from Shell's NXplorers program to come up with ideas that will lead to a sustainable future.
We could remove the salt from the seawater.
We could grow beans, melons, peppers or even tomatoes.
The desert has plenty of sunlight. What if we use solar power?
The NX Tools opens our minds towards different ways of solving the same problems and helps us figure out which one of our ideas would work better.
We could focus on farming plants that only need a small amount of water to grow.
We could use solar energy to distill clean water.
By looking at the bigger picture, we managed to better understand how everything is connected.
And dig deeper into the problems.
We created ideas that would help us to get to the future and developed action plans to implement the change.
We worked with engineers to design a machine that uses solar energy to collect clean water from the sea.
Using the sun as a renewable energy source, we evaporated enough seawater to use in a market garden.
NXplorers helped us develop our awareness, knowledge and new thinking skills.
It helped us to understand how to better use NX tools and NX thinking to solve real-life problems.
It helped us to develop new skills to deal with real-life challenges.
The local community was so impressed with our solution that they've come to us with a new challenge.
It's our turn to make the world a better place.
Shell NXplorers!
We can help young people
to learn how to tackle complex real-world challenges,
see themselves as positive agents of change,
and give them practical tools they can apply to any complex situation.
Next Tools and Next Thinking can help students develop their creative thinking skills
and come up with tangible solutions for a sustainable future. As teachers, sometimes we challenge tough questions from our students.
How do we grow food in the desert?
How can we best use the energy sources available to us?
Shell's NXplorers program teaches young people the complex and creative skills needed to tackle questions like how to turn an arid desert landscape into productive agricultural land.
Shell NXplorers helps them achieve positive change
and build up an expertise for their adult lives.
We focus on 3 steps:
explore, create and change,
which enables the students to come up with their own tangible solutions to complex problems
and develop creative ways of thinking.
Shell NXplorers is built on the foundations of Next Thinking.
Next Thinking is a combination of ideas around scenario planning, systems thinking and theory of change.
Shell NXplorers learn how to see the bigger picture, engage with the issues on a deeper level, and open their minds towards different ways of solving problems.
The Shell NXplorers program can help young people to solve real everyday problems, such as the water, food, energy nexus.
How can we encourage more people to use the local bus service?
On to the next challenge then.
With the tools and the thinking Shell's NXplorers program brings to the table, now it's their turn to make the world a better place.
Come and find out more.
Shell NXplorers!
Welcome back, everyone. The judges have completed their evaluations. I would like to invite Judge Mr. Lo Seng Yi to share the panel's general feedback on the presentations. Mr. Lo Seng Yi, please.
Thanks very much. First of all, a very good afternoon to all the students, teachers, judges, our partner Science Centre, and the members of the public who have taken their time out to join us today. It's really been an exciting time. On behalf of all the 3 judges here, we can say that it truly has been a pleasure to be part of today's activities. I want to thank also specifically all the various teams that you've done here. Thank you for letting us see the world again new through your eyes, in sharing the excitement of being able to make a difference, challenging the problems that we have here around the nexus of food, water and energy. Thank you so much for letting us be part of that. I really can see that there has been a lot of work that's been put in since the semi-finals in July. I was involved in that one. I was also had the pleasure of judging that, and I can see that the teams, you have come along so far. You put in so much more additional effort. Thank you for taking the feedback, working on it, and doing all the testings and experimentation that has happened since. All of us share in our pride of you. You have come so far. You've demonstrated such complex, creative thinking, and then you can see that's developed through the STEM subjects. This, we want to emphasize, is really exactly what's needed by our growing world, because it's putting increasing pressure on our food, water supplies, as well as the energy transition. The future isn't made yet, but this STEM way of thinking that the NXplorers program has taken you through can really help to bridge the skills gap that our future needs, and really help to make each and every one of you somebody who can make a difference for the future. So please, don't let the journey stop here. All of you are part of the next generation, and only you can reimagine our world and reshape it to make a difference to our local communities, both here in Singapore as well as globally. Please keep up the great attitude, mindset, the teamwork that you've done, the enjoyment, the relationships with each other, no doubt you've built through this time. Each and every one of you have that and brought that along with you, regardless of the results today. Lastly, but not least, a huge thanks to the teachers, the Shell mentors who have been involved and accompanying the students on this enriching journey. Without you, they would not have been able to come so far. Their learning would not be as multifaceted without you. And also a big appreciation to the Science Centre for the excellent partnership in running this program and hosting today's session. You don't see around us, there's an army of people running the networks behind this that makes this possible. Thank you so much for all of you. I want to say judging was not easy. We had a very, very vigorous conversations among the judges and all, trying to decide, because the difference between each and every one of the teams was so slight. The quality and the STEM value of the work that you've put in has been very, very high. The submissions have been incredibly high, and that's what made our lives actually very, very difficult. In the end, we had a judging rubric. We used that. We also looked at how scalable the problems were and how valuable and viable it was to the outside world, the greater world that you will be a part of. So thank you very much, and I hope that you will see the results. And regardless of the results, I want to repeat this: each and every one of you have come very far. So congratulations for that. If I can pass it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Low. All right, everyone, we are now ready to start the second part of today's program, the prize presentation ceremony. I'm Charmin from Science Centre Singapore, and I'll be your MC for the prize presentation ceremony. NXplorers is one of Shell's key programs that acts as a platform for conversation, collaboration, and innovation around the theme of sustainability, equipping young people with a transformational skill set to tackle the challenges of how to transition to a low-carbon energy future and manage the risks of climate change while extending the economic and social benefits of energy to everyone. The program, which introduces a new way of thinking called Next Thinking, based on a unique combination of three methodologies. Firstly, systems thinking, to help you explore the causes of complex issues and identify connections between them. Secondly, scenario planning, to help you consider probable, possible, and preferred futures. And thirdly, theory of change, to help you understand the feasibility and consequences of actions needed to bring about a more positive future. Through facilitated practical and collaborative workshops, participants are introduced to tools to help them to use Next Thinking as they explore issues, create future scenarios, and plan to bring about positive change. Through taking part in the program, participants will benefit in a range of ways, including getting the chance to develop their complex problem solving, system thinking, scenario planning, and change management skills. And they will also gain a better understanding of complex global issues such as energy transition, sustainable development, and the food, water, and energy nexus. In Singapore, the announcement of NXplorers program drew great interest. Around 115 team registrations were received from 36 schools. After the first round of pitching, 12 teams were shortlisted. They were invited to pitch their ideas in another round of selection. From that number, 5 finalist teams were selected to work with mentors from Shell and technical consultants from Science Centre Singapore to guide them on the development of their prototypes. 5 finalist teams were shortlisted to proceed to the final phase of the competition. They are Team Matzi from Cedar Girls Secondary School, Team Serial Killer from Loyang View Secondary School, Team Jellyfarmers from Cedar Girls Secondary School, Team C2H4 Filter Feeders from Nanyang Girls High School, and lastly, Team The Fan Plastic 5 from Cedar Girls Secondary School. Just a short while ago, the 5 finalist teams had presented their proposed solution to a panel of judges and the general public. Their projects have been appraised by you, the public guests of our live broadcast, as well as our esteemed panel of judges. Before we progress to the announcement, we would like to thank the judges for today's finals. Firstly, Mr. Lo Seng Yi, VP Sales, Asia Pacific, Shell Catalyst and Technologies Private Limited, Shell Companies in Singapore. Secondly, Mr. Kwong Kok Chan, Deputy GM for Special Projects at Pacific Light Power Private Limited. And lastly, Mr. Samuel Lee, Special Projects Team Engineer Lead at Hope Technique Private Limited. Thank you so much, judges, for today. Not to forget our student mentors from Shell, who had guided the student teams in developing their project prototypes and solutions, all of which were presented earlier. Thank you, mentors, for your time and guidance to the student groups. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to announce the results of NXplorers 2020 finals. The two Merit Awards winners are Team The Fantastic Five from Cedar Girls Secondary School and Team Serial Killer from Loyang View Secondary School. Congratulations, teams! So you know what this means? There are only 3 teams left for the top 3 prizes. Team Matzi from Cedar Girls Secondary School, Team Jellyfarmers from Cedar Girls Secondary School, and Team C2 H4 Filter Feeders from Nanyang Girls High School. Congratulations, you have made it to the top 3. Are you ready to hear the results? The second runner-up prize goes to Team Matzi from Cedar Girls Secondary School. Congratulations. That leaves us with just 2 teams. The champions of NXplorers 2020 are Team C2H4 Filter Feeders from Nanyang Girls High School. But before they get their prizes, let's invite the runner-up team to receive theirs. The runner-up prize goes to Team Jellyfarmers from Cedar Girls Secondary School. Now let's invite the champions of NXplorers 2020 to receive their prizes. Team C2H4 Filter Feeders from Nanyang Girls High School. Congratulations, teams. Well done. What a blast. It's been an amazing journey for our students, teachers, mentors, and program partners, culminating in this pulsating finals event. Let's savor this moment with a screen capture for all of those tuning in directly. So, on the count of 3, everybody give a thumbs up, give a big smile. On the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Smile! Keep smiling. All right. And with that, the NXplorers 2020 prize presentation ceremony and finals have come to an end. Thank you all for your participation, including those of you who had voted for your favorite team. Congratulations, award recipients, including our top 3 winners.